Good evening. It is Monday, July 8th. We welcome you to the Board of Education meeting. We are calling the meeting to order and like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. One of the first things I want to do is just welcome Neen Crystal, who is now joining us officially. So welcome. Wonderful to have you.
Thank you.
I do want to ask that we make a motion to add an agenda item 3.3 to amend the April 2019 minutes for a food service item. So could I have someone make a motion to add that?
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So the first item here, action on the minutes of June 10th, 2019. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved. Second.
Any questions, comments, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The second, June 24th, 2019 workshop minutes. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Any additions, corrections, edits? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I would like to note for the public that at our workshop meeting on Monday, June 24th, we did vote on the superintendent's contract. We did do it at that workshop meeting because most of our Board of Ed members were available on that evening, and we knew that tonight we would have a quorum, but would be missing the fuller board. So I do want to note that upon a motion made by Mr. Sands and seconded by myself, the board voted to extend the superintendent's contract through June 30th, 2022, with compensation increases next year for the 2019-20 year over last year of 2.25% each for salary, vacation, buyback, and TSA, $2,500 increase of the leadership stipend, and $2,000 increase of the car stipend. The compensation during years 2 and 3 shall be determined in the future. And we certainly extended to Dr. Freeman, who is not with us tonight, but at that meeting extended to him our great appreciation for his leadership, for kind of leading our school system to where it is today, and our confidence that he will continue to be the leader that we need for our district. So I did want to note that. Item 3.3, which we've just added, is to amend the minutes of April 8th, 2019. At our April 8th, 2019 meeting, we acted on healthy food certification with the option for exemption on food and beverages for the 2019-2020 school year. We've reviewed this briefly in the Operations Committee meeting, but there is specific language that is required to be by the state, right, to be reflected in these minutes. So Terry, I have a write-up. Oh, you may have it as well already?
I gave her my copy.
Terrific. So if the April, could we have a motion that the board amend the minutes of April 8th, 2019 to reflect these 3 paragraphs that have been given to Terry to insert?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Terrific. Thank you. Okay, public forum on the topic, board agenda. I don't see any public, so I think we will move on. The reviewer for expenditures for the month of June is Mr. Baglia.
Yes, I reviewed the expenditures for the month of June. Would like to make a motion to approve the expenditures of $8,910,359.26.
Okay, and we discussed the details of the expenditures, encumbrances, and warrants during our Operations Committee meeting. Does anybody have any further questions or comments?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Are there any communications that any board member would like to share from the past month? None? All right. Next on the agenda is student representatives. It is post-graduation, so we don't have any student representatives with us this evening. We will see them again probably in September, October. And Dr. Freeman, our superintendent, is away tonight. Mr. Bone, is there anything to add?
No, he'll report to you at the next
No
board
report.
meeting.
Terrific. All right, so we are at Board Agenda 9.1 to act on personnel items. The first item is to ratify the resignation of Christina Renzoni, who is a Lakes Elementary School speech language pathologist with 2 years of service in Guilford. Is there a motion to ratify the resignation?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then we have a number of appointments to ratify for the following teachers. Ashley Huckabone for Baldwin Middle School literacy coach with 5 years' experience. Haley Dowdy, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Jones Elementary School, grade 4, 3 years' experience. Emily Dulac, Baldwin Middle School, 6th grade with a master's degree. Curtis Goulette, Guilford High School mathematics teacher, master's degree, 6 years' experience. Sarah Laramie for Jones Elementary School, grade 3, 3 years' experience. And Amanda DeMeo, Leet Elementary School, kindergarten with a master's degree. So you have been busy. Is there a motion to ratify the appointment of these 6 teachers?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So now we have textbook recommendations. Dr. Crystal, do you want to add anything? I know Dr. Keene presented these to us. I just want to give you an opportunity if there were things to add or.
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
The books were available for the public to view.
Exactly, right.
And we haven't had anybody
Okay. Okay,
comment,
terrific.
so.
All right, so the first item is to act on a textbook, United States History and Geography. Is there a motion to approve the purchase of this textbook?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Again, this textbook and the next one we'll talk about, Campbell Biology in Focus, as Dr. Crystal noted, have been available, as we often do with our textbooks, made available for the month between when they are brought to the board first and when we act on them for the public to go and look at them if they're interested. I'm now going to ask for a motion to accept the Campbell Biology in Focus AP edition textbook purchase.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Mr. Sands, do you want to talk about this next? I know we talked about this in the Operations Committee meeting, but this is the budget transfers.
Yes. We had an extensive discussion about this. Since this is the wrap-up of the fiscal year, we're required by law to make sure that each of the subcategories that we have in the budget has the proper amount in it to match what the expenditures are. And obviously, when we make the budget, these are estimates, so we have to move things around a little bit from category to category as the year develops. So what the motion, which I will make, is that we transfer $91,000 into the salary account. We transfer $410,000 into the purchase services account. We transfer $140,000 into the tuition account, and we transfer $185,000 into the transportation account. And the offset to that is that we would transfer from employee benefits $512,000. We would transfer from supplies and materials $114,000. And we would transfer from capital expenditures $200,000. These two sets of transfers should offset each other. And I will make that as a motion.
Second.
All right. Mrs. Trudeau, did you want to add anything to this before we vote on this?
I'm hoping that this will cover us through the end of the year, and this will be the only transfers that we need to do to close out the year.
Terrific. Okay. So, Mr. Sands, as you said, the amount being transferred from various lines is $826,000 per my sum, and the amount being transferred to is likewise $826,000. Are there any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the custodial supplies bid. So every year, there are a number of items, in fact, 77 here identified, that go out to bid. There were 13 vendors that submitted bids for these items, so each of the items is bid individually. And the bidder with the lowest bid is chosen for that particular item. Two of the vendors of the 13 that submitted bids will not be awarded a portion of the bid. One was eliminated because of failure to return all the required documentation, and the second bidder did not bid on the 7 items but provided discounts on product categories. So again, wasn't kind of in compliance with the bid, and we couldn't then respond in kind. So we have 11 vendors who have bid on various of these 77 items that we are looking to purchase. And the board is I would like someone, please, to make a motion for the 11 vendors below to be awarded the items
Which they were the low bidder.
for which they were the low bid, exactly.
I will make that motion.
Thank you.
Second?
I'll second.
Any questions, additional comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the special education transportation bid. Again, Mrs. Trudeau, is there anything you want to add before we take this motion into consideration?
No, the list that I provided for you is the lowest bidder rates for each of these runs. We are waiting for our regular transportation vendor to determine if they would like to take any of these runs for that same rate.
Right.
So the award would either go to Specialty Transportation or one of the 5 other companies that bid for these rates that were listed on the memo.
Okay, terrific. And we did also talk about this in the Operations Committee. There were 5 vendors who have submitted bids for these runs. 4 are vendors we have used in the past. And as Mrs. Trudeau mentioned, Specialty Transportation, who provides us with our regular service bus runs, has the opportunity to match the lowest bid for any of these runs if they so choose. Can I ask someone to make a motion that we allow the administration to award each of the 15 special education runs to Specialty Transportation or the bus company that bids the lowest on each run?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Okay. 9.7, receive for possible action, waive bid requirement for the technology lease. So every year, we consider the process for the technology lease. We are down to 2 companies that are kind of capable of providing us the services and the lease in the way that we need it. And because we are down to 2, we are being asked, and we have done this for several years now, we are being asked by the administration to waive the bidding process. The 2 companies that have bid, kind of an unofficial bid goes out to them in communication that allows them to provide us with estimates, and then those will be considered. So the first thing that I would like a motion for is to request that we waive the bidding process for the technology lease.
So moved.
Second?
Do you, again, Mrs. Trudeau, I want to give you an opportunity. Is there anything to add? Okay, I just want to make sure I represent that correctly. Terrific. So all in favor?
Aye.
Again, because of this informal process, both of the companies who are able to provide us potentially with service for a technology lease have provided an estimate for what the technology lease would be with payments up front and with payments in arrears. Mrs. Trudeau and the business office have looked at the proposals that came in from these 2 companies and are asking for that we award the technology lease to TD Equipment Finance. They provided the lowest of the 2 bids and also came under the bid projection. So I'm going to ask for a motion that we award the technology lease to TD Equipment with payments up front of $73,596.53.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I just want to be clear, the lease is a 5-year term for the purchase of $350,000 of technology equipment, as outlined in the 2019-20 budget. Okay. 9.7. All right, we are now up to recommendations of from the policy committee. These are receive items only, so we won't vote on these tonight. These all fall under health policy and regulations. The nursing staff in Guilford Public Schools has been looking over our policies and regulations and updating them as is appropriate. So one of the regulations before you is 5430. It is, the request is actually to remove this, which is actually a form, the report of incident, accident on school property or at school activity form. It is not that we don't need or use the form, it's simply that we as a policy committee are working hard to remove actual forms from the policy and regulation manual. They best lie outside of that document, so to speak, so they can be updated as needed on a much more regular basis. So that's the first receive item. The second receive item is policy 5510, immunizations and vaccinations. This has been, you'll notice in the policy, greatly updated. Specific vaccinations were named in the prior policy, and the hope here is to, again, remove the specificity because we know things change on a regular basis. We work very closely with the school physician who consults with us, and so this again is a receive item. And then likewise, the regulation 5510, immunizations and vaccinations, has been updated And I really encourage board members to look through all the changes and reach out to me or anyone on the policy committee with any questions. But again, in many cases, removing particular immunizations and dates, and instead referring to where requirements can be found. Likewise, the nursing staff at Guilford Public Schools can provide parents with any of that information upon request at any time. So the hope, again, is to have this policy, this regulation and the prior policy kind of direct interested people, students, parents, staff, to either the school for information, the Connecticut Department of Public Health, et cetera, where they will always find the most updated list of vaccinations, immunizations, and regulations. Are there any questions about any of these now?
Yeah, I had a question here.
Sure.
It said, I'm looking at the 5510A, the immunization one.
Okay, so that's the regulation.
Right. And
Okay.
it says there are 6 exemptions to adequate immunization. And previously, there were 5 enumerated ones, but here I see, are we planning on having numbered ones, or are we just saying that there are 6?
There are, on the first page, we have number 1 and 2 listed.
All right.
At the top of the next page, number 3. I think, again, because of track changes, it's a little hard to follow. Then 4, the number 4 is crossed out. It should not be. There's actually an exemption listed there in the language that follows.
Oh, I see,
Yeah.
okay.
So this
this
is,
should be
yeah, this is a
marked as
formatting,
4.
yes, sorry, that's,
Okay.
I think that's probably a formatting issue,
Okay.
when track changes were applied, and then 5 and 6.
Yeah, okay.
And again, these have been reviewed thoroughly by our nursing staff, and again, in conjunction with our Guilford Public Schools consulting physician.
Okay.
So, all right, so these will be things we will act on next month at our August meeting.
Okay.
Okay. We're up to agenda item 10, reports of committees. The policy committee, again, met to go over these health policies and regulations we just presented, and we will be meeting again in the fall unless Mr. Bowden alerts us to the need to meet sooner. Oftentimes, we will have a special meeting, which we always identify for the public prior, to prepare ourselves, either to prepare ourselves for the upcoming year or to reflect legislative decisions that we then have to make sure get into policy before the start of the school year. But at the moment, we have nothing planned. Operations Committee, are there anything you want to report out from the Operations Committee?
Yes, we had quite an extensive meeting. We had a very full report from our health consultant, and the results to date, we don't have the full results for the year, for the fiscal year, but the results to date are favorable compared to the budget and compared to last year. And it looks like we are continuing to move forward with the process to put the administration of our health plan out for bid in the fall. That would be the administrative function of dealing with the claims, and also the reinsurance that we get on the stop loss policy for major claims. And so we're looking forward to doing that and seeing if we can get a better deal, frankly. As you heard, we reviewed the budget transfers and the custodial supply bid and the special education transportation bids in some detail, and also went over quite a few items relating to the food service report. So it was a good meeting.
Excellent. All righty. Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment Committee? Is there a member of the committee that can report? Or was there a recent meeting?
I don't recall our list.
No update.
I don't think we've met for a couple months.
No.
I don't think that
we
committee's met for a couple
discussed-
months.
Yeah. I think-
Okay, all right. Any liaisons to town committees that have anything to report? No? All right. Was anyone in attendance at the Learn Board of Directors meeting?
Yeah, I was unable.
You were
to
unable
attend,
to? Okay, so we will get updates. They've been pretty good, I think, about emailing
Yeah.
several of us updates. So we will make sure that we get updates to that meeting. Okay, agenda item number 11, public questions. Not seeing any public here tonight. I think I will ask for a motion to adjourn a very, very short meeting, not unusual for the summer months.
Very crisply
But,
run.
but,
Well done.
but, yes, so we'll need a motion.
So moved.
Yeah, second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you so much. Have a healthy and safe summer.
So, this